What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Investing Bros live show, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we got a lot to break down because guess what? 3 weeks ago, Bitcoin had its rally. Shortly after that, we had Chainlink and Solana last week have massive pumps. Earlier today, XRP took the cake, but right now, right this moment is the moment of the Dano. That's short, of course, for Cardano. A lot of you know we were talking about the ease it would have if we broke above 33 cents, make it to 36, and we gave some targets just a little bit higher than that, and we're going to cover that today as well. But we are blasting through. We cut through 36 cents like it was some Swiss cheese. Lots of holes in it. Now we're making a move towards 37. Is that the end, or how high could we actually get before that number retraces? Eric Wallen's in chat saying it's about to crash because we're about to hit his break-even point. That might be the top signal right there. Eric Wallen getting close to being in profit is a top signal if ever I have heard of one. But I want to hear more about that from my good co-host T-Shroom from down there in Gainesville, Florida. T-Shroom, how are you feeling today? How is your Cardano portfolio looking right now?
It's looking better than I deserve, to be honest with you. I have been skimping on my Cardano DCAs. I know. But I'm very confident in my overall portfolio, and I'm excited for what seems to be the beginning, the true beginning of the bull run here, moving into a bull market. So, there's definitely going to be some major pullbacks to come, but I'm excited, and I've got a little bit of dry powder on the sidelines, waiting to deploy. But let me get into the quote of the day here. Got a unique individual here to quote. Said, "Self-respect is the fruit of discipline. The sense of dignity grows with the ability to say no to oneself." And that is from the Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel, very famous rabbi. What do you think about that one there, Tim?
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not up to date with my tier of rabbis.
Yes.
That information has not really penetrated my cranium at this point. But I agree with this quote 100%. No, the most disliked word in the English language, also the Spanish language, and I don't know how many other languages no means negativity. But it is a word that comes with a lot of power, especially if you're able to say it to yourself. We've talked about that before on this channel. You could say there's a lot of things that are wrong with this world, but one of the biggest ones I think you could trace a lot of it back to is parents not saying no to their children more often, people not saying no to their thoughts and their personal desires more often. Discipline is one of the most underappreciated aspects of the world right now, but those who have grasped it and harness it, they're doing very well for themselves. And I agree with that quote very much. You know what else I agree with, T-Shroom? I'm loving the black hoodie combo that you and I are rocking today. You're coming along as the weather cools off, the black hoodies for the Investing Bros. Here's the thing, guys. We are definitely going to have to come out with some merch here soon. Black hoodies with a nice Investing Bros logo is going to be on that list. I predict to be a top seller. We need to get on that, T-Shroom. But a good quote of the day. I like it very much so.
Thank you.
Well, before we dive in, anything else you want to talk to the people about? We got over 24 people in here. We have not gotten into crypto, so you don't have to smash like just yet unless you really love the Investing Bros. We'll be talking crypto here in just a couple of minutes, doing some TA, getting into some news. Hopefully, we always say we're going to do Q&A at the end of the show, but sometimes we just have such good conversations based off of stuff we have planned. We don't get to Q&A. So hopefully we have time for some Q&A. We're always going to engage with you guys along the way, but hopefully we have more dedicated time towards the end. T-Shroom, anything before we jump into the charts?
You may have noticed a little bit of a change behind me. So
why don't you zoom out that bad boy? Let's see. Let's get a full screen of T-Shroom. No, that's your computer screen.
Yeah. So take a look. This is the new gallery for the NFTs right here. There we go. Goodness gracious.
There we go. Goodness.
This is the
buttons really tripping today.
Yeah, we're having a lot of fun. Got the Vault NFT there in the back, and we've got the garbage friends here as well, sent to us by Irate Specialist.
Yeah,
and
Mellow Fellow.
Mr. J sent me one over here as well on the side. It's slipping my mind because I don't know all the different NFT projects, but we're having a lot of fun. That's for sure. Big update.
Yeah.
Spent a lot of money printing those out. Ink ain't free. Let me tell you what.
I'm telling you. And new frames too, I think.
Yes, so I had to get a couple of the frames readjusted. That's right.
Yeah.
Good eye there, Tim. Good eye.
Listen, there's not a lot that gets past me. That banana keeps making its way around the office.
Yeah.
Can't get rid of it.
Yeah.
Cannot get rid of it. All right, let's do this. Let's jump in. Let's get some charts done. And let's take a look at things. We're hitting a lot of our predictions, and then some of them going a little higher. But you guys know we talked about Cardano. We talked about the chances of getting above 33 cents way back here. And guess what? We came up and hesitated at it here just a couple of days ago. Made me a little weary. I was like, are we gonna get to that 36-cent zone? But then you guys can see here after busting through here 2 days ago, we kind of hesitated a little bit around the 35-cent mark, but now we're up here flirting with the concept of 37 cents. But can Cardano go higher? You guys will see here on the 4-hour chart, we are getting our overbought print coming in. RSI sitting very high up above 90. Not necessarily what you want to see to be entering in here. So I'm not going to advise anyone FOMO into Cardano. I can't say with 100% certainty that a big pullback is coming, but it's looking like the charts are kind of leaning that direction. You come up here to the daily chart, we've been flashed overbought. RSI has been up almost 100. It's at 98 right now. Little advice for you guys. Do not buy any asset if the RSI is sitting at 98. Maybe you could get away if it's still hovering around 70. I know 70 is overextended, but sometimes you do see coins stay above the 70, but 98 is not one that you're very often wanting to FOMO in. Does not mean for a fact that the rally's over. We definitely can keep going high. And I think a really easy thing to kind of poke at and say, hey, what's the next level of serious resistance we're looking at? We're going to be looking right here at about 37, almost 38 cents, the high that we got to back here in July. Let's take a look at some other things here. Let's look at Fibonacci levels. Let's go back to the high we had back here. Let's come to more recently, like the 23-cent lows we had back. We just shot through, if we're looking on our log chart, we just shot through our golden pocket. The top end of that was 36.4 cents. If we kind of get up here towards 38 cents, give or take, there's a chance we reject, get a double top there. Platinum pocket on the log is sitting up here at 39 cents, give or take. Let's just go ahead and call it 40. 40 cents is absolutely in play. We are seeing on the 4-hour chart, like we showed you guys, being a little overextended at the moment with the oscillators kind of flashing bearish for us. But can Cardano continue its rally? We saw Solana do this. We saw Solana not that long ago just continue to ignore, let's pull up those oscillators, continue to ignore all these bearish oscillators and just keep pushing all the way up to our target of where $46, above $46. We had $46.60, and now it's starting to slow down here just a little bit, but Cardano is on the move. Let's take a look at the linear chart, because I told you guys before, I like going back and forth between these two charts. I'm a fan of saying, hey, whichever chart gives you a more bearish call during a rally, you want to be conservative, especially if you're looking to take some profits. But you guys can see here on the linear chart, we still have room to go just to get up to our golden pocket. And that's going to kind of bring us, that golden pocket is going to bring us to that July price. So I'm sitting here kind of saying, I think 37 cents, you'd never want to say a sure thing, but there's just not a lot of resistance sticking between us and that level at the moment, at least as far as what Fibonacci is saying. Let's go out to the daily chart and take a look at our fixed range volume profile, and then we'll look at some other indicators from Chart Prime as well. But I love using these Fibonacci and fixed range volume profiles to kind of look at what's happening here. Of course, we got above the value area high here at 35.5. We're starting to get into some thick volume. You guys will see here a peak. We blasted to the one at 36.5. We kind of hesitated, got stopped out at the 36.9 peak right here, but you will see there's not necessarily we have a dip in volume. There is a valley right here on 37.5, which is why that's the lower range of this golden pocket on the linear chart. The higher end does get us back into another valley there around 38.2 cents. But to me, I'm kind of sitting here just looking at Fibonacci, looking at past levels, looking at our fixed range volume profile. We're seeing a lot of things saying 37.5 is a level to keep your eyes on for sure. Let's take a look at our Market Oracle Pro with Chart Prime. You guys know we love Chart Prime. Chart Prime is the best, the greatest, the most awesome. We are massively overextended there on the daily chart. So another one, you guys will see, we talked about this on Bitcoin. You don't usually see, especially when we're flat with these bands of support and resistance, you don't usually see a massive move to the outside without a rubber band effect pulling us back. So again, I think there's a decent chance Cardano will have a little bit of a rude awakening, and it will have a pullback, possibly still back down below 30 cents, even though 30 cents has now been nicely defended by Cardano. But daily chart, we're massively overextended there. Just another reason not to go too much higher there with FOMOing in. Let's see what 4 hours is saying for us. I'm sure that it has adjusted itself just a little bit. We're still, we've been riding this red wave in it, but we're overextended on that one as well. Let's see what we're seeing with multi-time frame support and resistance and also order blocks potentially here. We do not have anything up until 38 cents here with our 12-hour coming in telling us we have resistance. We have the daily chart giving us the highest level of resistance there, about 39 cents. Don't know if we're going to be able to get that. I'm surprised we don't have any type. Let's go to the daily chart. I thought we don't have any order. There we go. There's the order blocks I thought would be here. Order block coming in down here towards 35.8, but the top end of it is that 37.8 as well. You guys know order blocks, one of the easiest things to trade with. We love going back to them and filling liquidity. Could we make it to the top of this? Maybe make a push towards that 38.2 of that 12-hour. I think that's a definite chance right there. 38.2 gets hit, and we fill up our order block nice and swell. Let's take a look at some other coins here in just a second. But T-Shroom, let's go to Brocam here for a second. Let's talk Cardano. Are you surprised by this rally? Were you expecting it? Give me your thoughts about what you're thinking right now, looking at these explosive movements on Cardano, which, again, we talked about this before. Cardano had been lagging behind, not having the explosive rallies. People were having that conversation. Is Cardano dead? Don't put your money in it. Solana's the future. Link's the future. This is the future. That's the future. Cardano was the last bull market. It's never going to be able to redo it. And again, today, even though XRP had to start, and we're going to talk XRP here in just a couple of minutes, right now is the Cardano show. It is outpacing those larger cap altcoins, up 7.5% since the opening of the day. That is the largest of all of the bigger cap, those top 10 altcoins. What are your thoughts about Cardano right now? Is this building a lot more positivity and bullishness, or are you thinking people are about to get their hearts broken in Cardano?
Well, answering your first question, Tim, I'm absolutely not surprised at all that Cardano is pumping. I mean, every coin has had its day, right? And Cardano, you can't expect any less. Of course, it's going to have its day. Now, where it goes from here is another question. Like, can it continue to pump? Can it continue to outperform? I would say I've still been more impressed with Solana's price action versus Cardano so far. But even more impressed than both of those, Chainlink, not by percentage gain, but just by consistency and how quick it's moved in the cycles. So this kind of goes back for me, to some of the guidance that I was issuing, I think it was about 2 weeks ago, is not to buy into coins as they're moving higher. Don't FOMO. It's classic FOMO. You're going to have plenty of entry levels, and that's why you tune in to channels like ours, right? To tell you, hey, this is a good coin and it's underbought, right? Right now, what is a coin like that? A coin like that, in my opinion, is Compound. It's not one that people are very excited about, right? The reason why I'm bullish on it is because Compound, it really hasn't had that moment like Cardano is having today, in my opinion, right? It has had some upside, but if you take a look at my screen, you can see that it's got plenty of upside yet to go before it retests these highs back at $77 per coin. Now, am I going to sit here and tell you that I think Compound is the next crypto that's going to rule the world and take everybody by storm? No. I'm just purely looking at it from the charts, and there's a little bit of a fundamental note on it, which is it's the lowest cap crypto on Robinhood, which is a very popular exchange for crypto, some crypto. So what I would say is, yes, I'm not surprised at all by Cardano's big movement here, but I'm not buying any more of it necessarily on this move up. I'm still looking for those deals. And what I'll say is the last time I said that, there were a lot more deals. Right now, there's less and less because every day it seems like one of these coins is pumping hard. Now, that's on the weekly, right? All of these on the monthly and multi-yearly are all extreme deals if you really zoom out, especially Cardano.
Yeah, looking at chat here, we got some people, Eric Wallen throwing in some FUD here. ADA is not outpacing anything, says Eric Wallen. Web3 Me says ADA pert good. I like that. Pert good. But Sol is the beast to perhaps overtake ETH. Just saying. Just saying. That was all his words, not mine. Listen, I'm big on Solana too, guys. But Solana had its time in the sun last week. It's still staying. Solana's nice, hovering right there around $40. But it's not getting the same explosion here over the last couple of days that we've seen some other coins. We kind of see the same thing with Bitcoin. After rocketing up to 35 and then touching 36K, just like we kind of said it would, Bitcoin's kind of moving sideways, being a little boring, not seeing any new highs. If you're looking in the news, there's not necessarily as much hype about Bitcoin. There's not as much hype about Solana today. Today was XRP and Cardano, and in the last couple of hours has been more about Cardano than XRP. Let's talk about XRP. Let's go over that chart as well, because I misspoke. Cardano's doing great. It is doing great, but it turns out actually since the opening of the day, XRP is outpacing Cardano still, even though the last couple of hours it's more of a Cardano show. XRP has such a good morning. It's up 7.8% today, up over that $70 mark. Now, I made a video this morning where I discussed the concept of 75. We made it to $73, cents, 73.3 cents here. I talked about 75 cents being a next level to look. Let's take a look at what's happening here. Hourly chart after getting some bearish reversal right there at the top. It does look like we are regrouping. You see even the RSI is dropping. A lot of times you see chart prime oscillator drop, but sometimes you don't see the RSI drop. This time it is, which does make me think that XRP is kind of in a reloading mode here on the 1 hour chart. Let's come out to a little larger time frame. Let's look at 4 hour chart. Oh, goodness gracious. RSI got super high up there. That one also got up to 98. We've been overbought on the 4 hour chart. Gosh, I swallowed.
You
I had
okay,
to drink
Tim?
water. When T-shirt was talking, I had some water, and I think I swallowed some down the wrong pipe. All right, let's do this.
Come on, Tim.
We have been overextended on XRP on the 4 hour chart since the price was all the way down here at 62 cents. So we've had a nice 11-cent pump while staying in the zone of overbought. That's what I'm telling you guys before. I was saying Cardano. When I see this, does it make me want to FOMO in? No, but it also doesn't make me say the rally has to be over, because clearly it's living in the overbought area here on the 4 hour chart, and yet the price just continues to go up. Now let's take a look at some things. Just as I suspected, we are well above that reversal band. Now you can see we've kind of touched on this a couple times here more recently. It's almost always met by a small reversal and a sideways movement to kind of reload here. Let's take a look at what the daily chart is doing here. Are we overextended on the daily chart, or is it right in place? Yeah, okay, it's right there. Look at what we did back here. Every single time, I mentioned this in the video this morning. If you go back to every single time here on the daily chart, we've gone crazy over this red reversal band. There's a pretty harsh correction. Of course, back here, this is a big one. All based off of the emotional outbreak when we found out that they had beaten the SEC. They came all the way down here. They dropped about 54%. Could we see a 50% reduction in XRP price again? We absolutely could. I think it's going to be less than that, but I think I've told you guys before, I still think I could see a 20 to 30% fallback for Bitcoin, 30 to potentially all the way some altcoins falling 50%. Is XRP one of those? I don't know. I like XRP, at least for right now, to, at the worst, defend that 57, 55 cent mark. Now we've turned it back into support. Let's keep that support. I think that could absolutely happen. But you can see back here when we went overextended, 30% to the downside after getting outside of those red bands. And then let's move over. Last one here. Let's check out with this one. We went above the red bands and retraced over the next little bit, about 42%. So historically, when you get outside these red bands, even just looking at XRP more recently here on the daily chart, there usually is some pretty harsh pullbacks. Will it be 40%, 50%? I don't know. I think an interesting spot is going to be looking at, let's just pretend we get to my 75 cent zone. We'll talk about that here in just a second. Let's say we get up to 75 and then pull back down here. We're looking at about 24, 25%, pulling back down to that 55 cent, 57 cent zone that I mentioned. That's really not that bad, but it is something I think will/could happen. But let's take a look at some other things here. Why is 75 cents what we're looking at here? Let's talk Fibonacci levels here on the daily chart. Let's go to this high. Let's go all the way down to that low we hit back here just a couple months ago. Golden pocket sitting right up here at 75 cents. That's one of the big reasons why I think, again, we broke through that 0.5 level. just really don't have that much further to get up here and get into the golden pocket. Let's take a look at our fixed range volume profile here as well. And value area high is where we're kind of hesitating right now, but you'll kind of see there's a peak, there's a valley right here at 73.3. That's what we rejected on. But if we can keep beating that out, the next valley is going to be all the way here actually at 76 cents. So 75 is a little low. Watch for 75 to 76 cents in that golden pocket to be where we potentially reload to. And as I told you, 4-hour chart, massively overextended when we're pulling up the oscillators. But when we go down towards that hourly chart, which again tells us about the next like 6 to 12 hours or so, we're looking at a reloading type of thing going on. There's going to be some big bearish divergence here. We're going to get a retraction at some point. But I'm loving, look at how we keep rallying up here towards these higher 93, 95 levels. We pull back down to 70 on the RSI. We've done this multiple times, and we'll keep pushing up and up to the upside. There eventually will be a retraction. There will be a retracement that happens. Watch for one more good push. Like I said, 75, 76 cents. And then maybe that's when we finally say, all right, it is time to go ahead and respect these overbought signals we're getting on the 4-hour, the daily. I believe we're seeing them all the way up. We definitely see them on the 2 daily. We see them on the 3 daily. Are we getting them on the 5 daily yet? Not quite on the 5 daily. So if we do see one on the 5 daily, that to me would be kind of the, yeah, that's for sure. We're going to the downside. But even seeing it on the 3 daily chart, again, could we keep going here a little further? Yes. But notice when we go back and look just at XRP here on daily overbought signals, we get one back here in July, perfect call. We get one back here in March, perfect call. We get one back here in September. There was one more good push, but we didn't even get back up to the high we originally set. That was a pretty good call. So getting that overbought flash on these higher time frames, I do think, again, that retracement is coming, but don't be surprised to see one more good push-ups at a little bit higher high there, getting up to that, again, 75, 76 cent zone for XRP. And then this little rally might come to a close. We retrace and we set those higher lows and hopefully continue this bull trend. But remember, bull trends come with healthy pullbacks. You always got to be prepared for them. Tish Room. Mm-hmm. Agree, disagree? What are your XRP thoughts? Let's take a look at chat, even see what they're saying.
Yeah, there's a little bit of controversy here about Solana. I mean, my overall thoughts on XRP is it seems on track. To be honest with you, it seems like it got pretty oversold, in my opinion, getting down to some of those lower levels, sub 55 cents. You know, I thought your prediction, I wasn't one of the ones that doubted your prediction at 55 cents, that's for sure. It made sense for a retest, but much more south of that, and I'm kind of scratching my head.
So that was surprising, yeah.
So the fact that it went down that low seemed a little bit strange, but I think sky's the limit for XRP. You know, I think really the only thing stopping it is if for some reason, you know, the narrative changes and, you know, regulators around the world stop being so open to the coin. But all it seems like green lights all the way around. You know, they're winning in the regulatory battles that they've been in here in the United States, and it looks like they're getting plenty of at least the meetings, if not the deals, with a lot of the payment processors that they need up at the global level. So what was being discussed about Solana was actually kind of interesting. Alex Green, well, it started with a mellow fellow saying, you know, basically he doesn't like Solana. He doesn't understand why people are into it when it had, you know, outages.
VC, that one is I still think that the technology is good. They're fast. Solana's fast. That's very attractive to institutions and VCs. Mm-hmm. And so that one you could see, and let's be honest with this, guys. Let's be honest as to why Solana could do very well again this bull market. Let's talk about Cardano last bull market. Cardano did not rally over $3 based off of what Cardano produced. I think this bull market, we're going to see a lot more value coming to Cardano based off of what you can do and build on it. But Cardano did not get that high based off of use case. It got that high based off of hype and community. Well, guess what's another thing that can absolutely pump coins? VC spending, VC money. They're building their own community. Solana, I haven't checked this recently, but I know last month Solana was I don't remember what measure it was, but it was voted the most loved or liked altcoin. Ethereum was voted least liked. That kind of explains why Solana's gone on a tear recently and Ethereum's been extremely boring. But my point here is, why is it pumping right now? It's pumping because of VC money and hype coming into it, which, by the way, guys, when you're looking to make money, you love seeing things get hype, because hype can get explosive and can get out of control. Rick Nacho said, Tim, I think you could be a little short on that XRP call. I could see getting up to 90 cents. You also there, Rick Nachos, though, you talk about the amount of longs you're seeing. There's a lot of longs leveraged. And guess what? You're absolutely right. And they could see 90 cents. I'm not making 100% predictions that we can't get much higher. But anytime I see that, Rick Nachos, when I see that many longs leveraged, let's get out of the emotional standpoint. Let's get out of the loving XRP standpoint. Let's just kind of take a step back and just think about trading. Emotions completely set out of it. Experienced traders love being able to dump their coins on other people. And there's a lot of longs and there's a lot of people buying in based off of FOMO. That is called exit liquidity. And then you get a lot of longs that all of a sudden they run out of steam and no one else is joining them. What does that set up for us? A long squeeze. And long squeezes can shoot prices down very, very fast. Experienced traders can make a lot of money from it. So just because there's a lot of longs leverage, does that mean we have to go down? No, we could see people keep piling on. But I'm telling you, from my experience of watching how these markets move, when I see this many longs moving into an asset, a lot of times the unemotional, unattached traders who only care about money see that as a golden opportunity to go in the opposite direction and trap some sucker retail traders and create a long squeeze that dips the price pretty severely. But again, it'll bring some lower price levels to buy in because I think XRP, I have some thoughts about XRP. I don't know if I want to get into them. I still think we're going to have a good bull market. I still think that we can see XRP get above $10. But there are some things happening that have made me become less bullish on XRP long term, bullish on Ripple, but on the token price of XRP, there are some things happening that make me suspect this might not be everything that people think it's going to be. Don't forget about the $589 prediction on XRP. Can XRP even ever get to $50? Can it even ever get to $100? There's something happening right now that could keep that from coming to be. But we'll talk about that here in just a second. T-Shirt, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat, Tim. And I think it has a lot to do with the Ripple IPO. This is really, in my mind, it's the first time that you've seen a company, especially in the top 10, a project do something like this where they're going to straddle these liquidity markets. They're going to say, hey, everyone on Wall Street, right, and at the London exchange and whatever else exchange they want to issue, we want your money. Here's our shares, right? And you're going the traditional route. But then they're also going to turn around to the crypto space and say, hey, we want your money. We want your funds. We want your wealth. Here is our tokens in exchange, right? And it's just, we don't know. We've never seen that. It could go really well, right? Like XRP could outperform the rest of the world because, we just don't know. I think there probably are some really smart like lawyers and maybe some real smart economists that have worked with blockchain quite a bit that may have a better kind of grasp of which way that this is going to go for XRP specifically. But I'd say for most folks, we're kind of in uncharted waters here. And my guess is that it's going to be volatile, right? Whenever there's uncertainty, there's going to be higher tests. There's going to be tests higher maybe than it was supposed to go, and there's going to be tests lower maybe than it was supposed to go. So I'm definitely holding the XRP I have now, but I don't feel bad about swapping some of the XRP that I've had for not meme coins. Somebody in the comments a couple days ago said that I swapped my XRP for meme coins. I don't think I ever did that.
I don't think you did either.
If I did, it was for I know I did buy some Pepe, so there's a chance that I swapped it for Pepe. But if I did, it was a very quick swap back and forth. Which whatever I want to do with my money is my money, right? But I don't regret rotating out some of my XRP into non-meme coins. That was Hello Token and GFAL, I think was the other one too. So I don't regret it. Regret it. We'll see.
And I think you made a good point there. Let's start with this. Before I get down the road that I'm going to go with this topic, I feel like at this point now, we're at 3:29, halfway through the show. Go ahead and smash that like button, everybody. I feel like we've earned it at this point. Smash that like button if you guys have loved what we've been talking about here. Let me explain to you why I'm less bullish on XRP, but at the same time, in a weird way, I'm less bearish on XRP. That's kind of confusing. You hit it right on the head, T-Shirt. When we're talking about the Ripple IPO, Ripple going public, and again, while right now it's a rumor, I'm just telling you guys, T-Shirt and I have some inside information there, which is really weird. We are not the people to have inside information on topics like this. We're not that important.
We're just bros.
We have connections with people who work with Ripple, who know what they're doing as far as their marketing, who know what they're doing in terms of what they're moving their pieces around. they're setting up for an IPO. It is going to happen. Now, what does the IPO mean for XRP? The first thing is it could be bullish. The bullish side of the IPO would be more attention, more exposure, maybe some confusion. Maybe people think when they buy XRP, they're buying control of Ripple. It's just more exposure, more use case, more deals, right? That's the bullish side of it. But let me tell you why there's a potential. The bearish is the wrong term. Limiting factor is the right term for XRP. Let's talk about this. There's something that have gotten some people just in an absolute fuss about XRP, and I want to kind of mitigate the FUD, but also mitigate the FOMO about XRP's price. So Ripple, in the last 2 months, has been a very big deal that they have been unlocking. Back in October and November, they unlocked 1 billion tokens, right? So, of course, now that they're unlocked and these belong to Ripple, they have the right to sell those tokens, or the ability to sell those tokens. That could be a massive bearish pressure on price. That could suppress price. That's what has everyone upset. Let me tell you this right now. That doesn't do Ripple that much to want to sell. First of all, they're not going to sell all 1 billion at a month. So if anyone is worried that every time they unlock these tokens, they're just going to massive sell them, they're not going to do that, right? They want the price of XRP to stay high. That does them very, very well to keep the price up, up, and up. So they're sitting on these, they're unlocking these coins, but they're holding them. But here's the thing that's going to happen, T-Shroom. They're now that when they get an IPO, when they file for a Ripple IPO, which is the company that services the bank transactions, XRP is just the token. They don't need the price of token to go up. That's not needed. They just need physical tokens to be able to utilize to actually transact the interactions between banks. So in a way, the price of XRP does not matter. They don't want it to drop too low, but they don't need it to skyrocket up to $100 per token, $589 per token, $1,000 per token. It could stay right where it is right now, and they can keep utilizing it. But when they file this IPO and they have a board and they are now a publicly traded exchange, and people are going to want to see returns on their investments in that Ripple IPO and the stocks they hold, anytime those stock prices start to drop a little bit, they can go and sell off their Ripple tokens that are now unlocked, suppressing the XRP price, but boosting up the Ripple price. And then in times where the price is too low on XRP, they could just go ahead and switch right back and buy it. And in reality, what I think potentially could happen, because again, they need XRP to transact their business transactions, but they don't need the price to be crazy. Could we see XRP become actually a very stable and level coin and token to move your profits to? Bitcoin will keep going up in price. Demand will keep rising. Supply will keep getting lesser and lesser what's coming out. I think when people make their massive trades, they're going to move it over into Bitcoin for their slow but steady gains. It's going to be the greatest store of value ever. XRP could become a very stable and not very volatile coin to where it gets to a level that's really comfortable with. And then in reality, every single time you kind of get into a market where it's bearish, even for Bitcoin, maybe you want to move your money into XRP because the losses are going to be very minimal, but the gains are going to be very minimal as well. It won't be a perfect stable coin where like they lock to $1 and then just stay right there. That's not what I'm saying. But I think we could get to a level where the volatility on XRP just becomes very slim. And anytime Ripple needs to make money, they sell some of their tokens. And every time the price of XRP gets too low, they buy back in and they bring the price back up to keep positive attention. And at the end of the day, there's a lot of people who like that. There's a lot of people who will like that XRP does not have massive losses to it. It could effectively be a very productive stablecoin-esque type of cryptocurrency, but that means the returns are not going to be that amazing either. What do you think about that theory, T-Shroom, that potentially is what XRP could become?
Well, again, look, we're at the precipice of something brand new. Crypto is only a handful of years old, and then altcoins are even younger, right? So we really don't know exactly where any of this is going. One thing that came to mind, Tim, when you were talking about how you're kind of circling around the concept of it would work more in the favor of Ripple for XRP to basically stable out and become a stable coin. It kind of made me think of this right here, which is Hyera, Hyera.com. This is their front page. You notice anything about Hyera here? Stablecoin Studio is their hot main feature right here.
Right.
This is what they're pushing. Hyera is in my opinion, a pretty predominant competitor of Ripple and XRP. Because they've got their own proprietary blockchain alternative, and they are absolutely going after the ISO 200,022 narrative. Not that that's a narrative that I really think too strongly about these days, but they're going after the big institutions, the banks. I mean, literally, it's like kind of scripting out here. If you read it, payment providers. It'll say institutional. So, stablecoin platform. So ultimately, my point is here, Tim, is that it makes sense that these companies wouldn't have known early on when they were first issuing their coins that a stable coin would actually be what they need, because they're looking at what the market was excited about, and what the market's excited about is upside, right? So you wouldn't want to issue a token that's tied to the dollar, tied to gold, right? You want to issue a token that could go to the moon to get a bunch of liquidity, to pay developers, to make it better, to sell to banks, right? And ultimately, what they're finding now, perhaps again, there's a good degree of speculation here that Tim and I are kind of building off of. But to the extent that it's true that Ripple is looking to IPO, it would make sense that it would be more in their interest for XRP to kind of stable out. Now, here is the interesting answer that hopefully is going through the minds of the Brad Garlinghouses of the world over at Ripple, which is, instead of a stable coin, how could we make it pegged to something else like that goes up over time, right? So it's like a gradual multiple, a linear multiple, not a exponential multiple of the dollar. So instead of it being a stable coin, it's a stable coin plus times 0.005 or something like that. So that you run it out 30 years from now, you're not still pegged to the dollar, you're actually gaining. And I think with the amount of money and revenue that Ripple could stand to earn in fees from providing new banking services and innovative technologies to huge institutions, I think that they could afford, to algorithmically bump their stablecoin XRP. Now, walking all that back, it's not like Tim and I know that this is what's going to happen. Tim asked me a question. I'm kind of speculating on what the future could look like. Yeah. But so far, if we know anything about crypto, it's that anything can happen, and not to set your expectations narrowly, set them extremely widely, and prepare for wide possibilities.
Yeah, I think that's well said. Well said, T-Shirt. And we're in a transition here, guys. Again, let us know in the comments what you guys think the future of XRP looks like. Explosive price actions. Is it maybe you think it's going to zero? Any of you guys XRP holders out there or haters out there, or do you think you agree somewhere along the lines of what T-Shirt and I are talking about, where it doesn't become a dollar to dollar stable coin, but it becomes a very steady, I was saying steady level, and it came together, and then I don't know where the D came in. Steady level of currency and value, to where it's more of a housing for your value, more so than gaining more value when you use it. Let's do this. We're in transition. We have some stories we're going to talk about, and then hopefully we've been interacting with chat a good amount, but hopefully we have more Q&A at the end. But you do not want to get too far into the show without getting the trivia question of the day from the Trivia Elf.
That's right.
What was his name again? We had a name from him at one point.
The Trivia Elf is his name.
The Trivia Elf.
The
Trivia
is his
first
Elf.
name.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. It's on his social security card.
Yeah.
The elf variety. All right, let's get into it, guys. The factoid of the day is actually brought to you by Decrypted.tax. We met with Ernest yesterday or Friday. We had a great meeting with him. He's doing really well. And when we hopped on the meeting with him, he was actually had on none other than the Investing Bros on YouTube. He was
watching us in the background. Was that a form of flattery, you think, T-Shroom?
I think he's just trying to get some good alpha.
I just think it's his favorite show he watches, and he just runs it nonstop.
Yeah. So, guys, he is a big supporter of the channel. We should introduce him to Discord and see if he'll come into the Discord.
That would be awesome.
I don't know if he's a Discord guy. He might be, but Ernest, if you're watching, we got to get you on the Discord. Anyway, guys, Ernest made a good point. Ernest made a good point that if you're an individual, more than likely you're not going to need to be getting your tax documents and stuff prepared until at least January, but probably further on from there, right? Because ultimately your taxes aren't due for 2023 until, April 15th next year, right?
Yeah.
So you're not in any hurry. We get it. But if you are a corporation, right, or not you, but if you have a company that's traded any or held any crypto, right, your deadline is actually December 31st that you need to start getting your documents together for. So if you have been trading through an LLC, if you've been trading through a corporation, or just holding on maybe you have a welding company, right? But your welding company has actually some XRP on the balance sheet, or some Cardano on the balance sheet, or maybe even some Bitcoin perhaps on your balance sheet. All of these kind of issues are something that you can bring to Decrypted.tax, but you don't have to just sign up and commit. You can actually take a 30-minute consultation with Ernest. Tell him the Investing Bros sent you, and you get 25% off. There's no commitment required in that 30-minute session. You just hang out, really. Just chat him up, see what he's thinking about the markets, and see if he can help you out, if it's going to be a good match for you and your tax needs going into the new year. Tim, our factoid of the day is, what is the average monthly student loan payment in the United States of America?
Okay, so Taylor's, my wife's, I think, is 150.
Okay.
But she didn't have that high. Like, she only had 10,000 total. I would have to imagine that the average person's debt is higher than $10,000. I think 350 is a little high for me, but I'm going to say 200.
200.
I think that would put, the average debt probably somewhere in the region of $15,000 to $20,000. I think a lot of people didn't take any debt. A lot of people took a lot of debt. Some people took right in that area. Let's go $200, a little bit higher than what Taylor has to pay.
I like it.
That red X really throws me off. I know you're saying that doesn't mean I'm wrong.
X.
Okay,
look,
that is zoom in.
This is just the edit button on Google Docs where I can. It's the AI little assistant.
You can say that it's the edit button, but you can't say that's not a red X, because that is literally a red X. It's an X, and
there's
it's
no
red.
X. There is no X. It's a little
Scroll
pin.
over to it.
It's a little edit button.
Well, my face is being blocked.
It's a little edit button.
Not an X. Okay, you're right. It's not an X. It's an edit button. But zoomed out, does that not look like an X? You got me. You got me. It's not an X. It looks like an X from this zoomed out version, though.
Okay.
I was today years old when I realized that's not an X.
I had a bunch of X's that I needed you to identify. I am no longer going to be sending that work your way, because I do not think that you are in any way competent enough to identify a red X. That's okay. We're having fun, guys. All right, let's get into the news, of which there is not much, but there has been a pretty big development over in the UK, the United Kingdom. Bank of England releases stablecoin regulation plan. It's being marketed as bullish. I'm not exactly sure that it is, but in any case, they're getting ahead of us here in the United States and our very sluggish regulators. The UK Prime Minister, whoa, we're all over the place here, Rishi Sunak, had announced that he wants the nation to become a crypto hub, introducing clear rules for digital assets, and crypto firm falls within the UK's goals. So the UK's latest plan follows the European Union and Japan's similar moves. Japan also has stated that it wants to be the world's hub of crypto. It's going to be somebody, and I've been on record as saying is the United States probably has another 5 years that it could probably continue doing this dilly-dallying and then catch up. That's just how powerful our economy is here in the United States. But it probably 2 or 3 years, it is going to have some irreversible damage, I would say. And that even if it did catch up from there, it's not going to be the same punching power that it has seen in, say, the information industry that the United States has enjoyed by getting ahead, or computer design industry that obviously has yielded a ton of money through companies like NVIDIA and AMD. So here, the United States is lagging, and that's the real main takeaway in my mind, other than the fact that this could be a big win for companies like Circle, right? But also companies like IOHK, right? That have JED, right? And that is a Cardano project, in the Cardano ecosystem. Furthermore, the paper stated that issuers may keep revenue from interest and return from the backing assets. So it looks like in order to have the stablecoin there in the Bank of England in the UK, I'm not exactly sure about this, but it has to be backed by their pound and by some of their bonds. And then that raises the questions, well, who gets to keep the yield of the bonds? And this is stating that the actual issuer, Circle in this case, or Cardano, IOHK, would be able to hold on to those returns from the backed assets. I'm not exactly sure how this is going to pan out. I think the main takeaway for me is the optics of it all, that this man is leading the UK towards being the hub of the future for crypto, and he's up against some some pretty steep competition over, in my opinion, the top leader, which is the United Arab Emirates. But then you've also got Japan and the euro more broadly. Tim, is this setting off any alarm bells for you, or does this seem kind of routine?
Well, I'm very happy for all of our viewers who are in the UK that you guys did read this. Of course, you guys know more than us, though. There's been a lot of negative crypto headlines in the UK. So while the prime minister might be pro crypto, he can't do this by himself. He's going to have to convince the rest of not only his party, but then even the other party. And forgive me, I'm not as up to date on my it's the Tory party and
the Labour and the Tory.
Labour and Tory, and then there's a third that's kind of sometimes up there.
The Lib Dems, the Lib Dems, liberal Democrats.
The point is, I did study this in high school, is that the advantage of the UK political system is they can get things done very, very quickly. The problem is that if the parties switch, they can undo things very, very quickly.
Correct.
Whereas in the United States, it takes us forever to do anything.
Right.
And that's the checks and balances. But it's good to see this. But I do know, again, you've seen exchanges getting closed down. A lot of fear about crypto being used for crime that are making certain people want to create more laws to restrict crypto. This is a positive headline in a controversial time for the UK right now when it comes to crypto. So let's hope the good guys win.
Right. Exactly. And if nothing else, it's positive. It's shaking up, folks who maybe weren't thinking about crypto this week over in the UK that now they are, right? Maybe they, kind of wake up and go stumble onto a crypto chart of some kind and they readjust their glasses and they go, whoa, maybe I should invest in some crypto. It's kind of moving in a direction I wish my 401k was.
Maybe they read the report here in the United States where after months of people talking about how you can use crypto for terrorism and for crime, the reports came out that overwhelmingly crime and terrorist organizations are not using cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
They're using fiat.
There's a very small group of people who that was a deciding factor for, but yes. I mean,
I think there's a large factor of people who were like, oh, yeah. Elizabeth Warren is right. The terrorists are using it. And then they're like, oh, they're not using it. Oh, well, maybe it's not so bad.
True. Maybe.
Thanksgiving dinner is going to be fun this year, man. Thanksgiving dinner is going to be very fun.
Something tells me that the staunch Elizabeth Warren supporters who aren't in Wall Street don't have a lot of money, right? They're probably doing a lot of living in their parents' basement and cheering on Elizabeth Warren in some way. Down with the crypto, bros.
I don't know. Her area that she runs is a pretty wealthy area, and she has good control.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's another story here. It's not very exciting, but we want to kind of help people remember that crypto does have a lot of fakes, has a lot of frauds. If you're a noob watching, first of all, consider subscribing if you're getting some value from this. But unfortunately, there is a lot, and here's one. There's a fake Ledger Live app on Microsoft Store, and it's cost users almost $600,000. So somehow, Microsoft Store approved this app that was not real, and I can only imagine that was probably stealing people's seed phrases and stuff like that. I would imagine most of you guys already know, the majority about crypto security. We'll have whole pieces of content on that. We're not going to spend too much time. But in general, if it's not your keys, it's not your crypto. If you're giving something your keys, you better be very, very careful what it is, even if it's your own desktop. All right, so just be careful out there. Another headline here from Ripple Labs. This is if Ripple settles with the SEC, it's a 99.9% legal victory for the crypto company, pro XRP lawyer says. Now, you might be scratching your head. Shroom, I thought that XRP and Ripple, I thought they won already. Why would there be a settlement? Well, you're not. You can be forgiven for thinking that. We get it. I get it. But here's the reality.
You've been forgiven. You have
been forgiven. Yeah. We hear your apologies in the Discord, and you've been forgiven. Look, XRP won. Ripple kind of won, halfway lost, because a lot of what they were doing on the investment side with institutions was not kosher with Judge Torres. Judge Torres did not rule in favor of Ripple, excuse me. However, all they really are going to have to do here is likely a settlement. And as I reported this morning, a lot of that settlement has been reduced because a lot of the money was raised from outside of the United States, where the SEC does not have jurisdiction. So it looks, according to this article, the settlement may be as low as $200 million, which is, That may be a lot of money to you and me. It is, but that's not that much for Ripple. Tim, what do you think here? Do you think this is a big deciding factor? Or do you think this is kind of business as usual for Ripple, just kind of trying to clear off the table, say, hey, look, we're all good in the good graces with the regulators. Let's IPO.
Listen, they really cared about the SEC. They really cared about the XRP token. When they lost that, that was the big blow. When it comes to the Ripple stuff, well, they had little wins here and there. They realized they're like, all right, we're not going to win the XRP thing. Let's just get as much money out of Ripple as we can. They're going to do that. This is what this settlement is going to be. It's just going to be, all right, let's just end this whole thing. Pay us X amount of dollars. Go. And again, they are talking with the SEC. They also want to be on the good side of the SEC because they want to file this IPO. They do want to have a security that people can go and invest in. So SEC is pretty much saying, just pay us this much money, and then we'll let you set up your IPO. You guys will be good. You guys will go on, do your thing. We'll stop harassing you. So I think both parties are going to walk away satisfied.
Yep. I tend to agree. I don't think anybody has said in the United States like that we want the United States to be a hub of crypto, right? There haven't been any like major. I know the mayors of Miami.
Well, I would say I was going to say maybe not from what. I mean, you can make the argument. I would imagine there's a lot of those congressmen and senators who are pro crypto who would love that. But yeah, we've heard governors and then like mayors say they want their states/cities to be hubs. But no, I don't know if we have any large player that's actually in control of the federal government say that.
Yeah, I don't. Not to my mind.
Yeah,
not to my mind. That's why RFK getting in there would be pretty monumental. Here's something from Gary C. He said, "Here's a hacker story. A few years ago, hackers took control of a county website in Southwest Florida and demanded Bitcoin to release control back to the county. True story. I live here and worked for the county." So
that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it definitely is not the first time that something like that's happened.
It's not
and
a
it won't
great
be the
look.
last.
It's not a great look for Bitcoin. I'm not gonna lie, but it's interesting.
Yeah.
The stories like that are what make some people who are very uninformed be like, "Oh, you see the criminals? They want the Bitcoin. You gotta stay away from those Bitcoins."
Yeah, I think that was actually an extremely accurate rendition, and I
Yes,
hope that
it
the YouTube
I know
algorithm
lots
doesn't
of
think
people
we're
who
real criminals.
sound just like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That wasn't made up.
I love it. Heck yeah. Well, that's going to be it for the stories. Let's go ahead and get on to the factoid and see what the answer is. The answer of which, of course, is brought to you by Decrypted.tax.
Yes.
Guys, if you're going to be paying taxes, if you're planning on not going to jail in 2024, if going to jail is not in your plans for 2024, you're going to have to pay taxes. Not saying if you don't use Decrypted.tax, you're going to jail. Guys, go check it out. Go check out the website. You're going to have a great time. Book that 30-minute free meeting with Ernest and tell him we sent you. Here is the answer to, let me make sure the volume's not super loud. Here we go. What is the average monthly student loan payment in the United States? $200. Was that enough payout for that buildup? I'm not sure it was. But here you go. Here's the Cabesi letter tweet this originated from. Student loan payments are set to resume in October. That was last month for the first time since 2020. So students who have a bunch of loans, or I guess graduates at this point, have been living rent-free, right? They've just been living it up. Well, not so much anymore. There are now a total of 45 million people in the U.S. with student loans and 1.6 trillion of student loans outstanding. That's a real healthy statistic, isn't it? The average monthly student loan payment is $200. This means roughly $9 billion in customer spending will be subtracted every month. Roughly $100 billion per year will be subtracted from consumer spending, mainly with an impact on younger consumers. Makes sense? Another large shift in consumer spending is coming. And then they've got a chart that we're not going to break down. But overall, Tim, it's not that's not a good story for the overall economy. Although I would imagine that it's not. I don't think it's going to have a noticeable effect. What do you think? What do you think, Tim? Do you think it's going to have a noticeable effect in the economy?
How many crypto holders are about to have to start paying student loan debt again?
I don't know that there's going to be that, because the type of people who go into a bunch of student loan are not the kind of people that are buying crypto, in my opinion. I mean, there's always going to be some percentage in the Venn diagram of those two demos.
I think. Okay,
tell me what you think, Tim.
Put your hand up in chat if what I'm about to say describes who you are.
That's not a thing. Put a 1 in chat.
No, I want them to put their hands up, and then I'll just telepathically, I'll feel it.
Oh, okay. I forgot about that. Go ahead.
Yes. So you are either watching the show. You're either A, freshly out of college, meaning mid to lower 20s, or maybe you went to graduate school and you're in those mid to higher 20s, and you're realizing you just spent a boatload of money for a career that's going to pay you a small amount of fiat currency that continues to get inflated, and you're sick of it, and you're looking for something to keep your value higher. Or B, you are probably in your mid 30s to mid 40s, and you have realized, whether you have a college education or not, that they screwed you, that the education was not as important as it actually was. There are certain ones that are nice, but you're tired of them continually stealing your money and stealing your paycheck. And so you have found crypto, and you're saying, this is how I'm going to protect against that. Either way, I think a large amount of people in crypto are okay. I think a large amount of people in crypto actually do have college educations and realized how stupid the education system is and how much it jacked them up to charge them so much money to not make as much money as they thought. Because here's the thing: if I go to college and my thought is like, I'm going to come out of college, I'm going to get a $120,000 a year paying job. $120,000 a year 20 years ago, phenomenal. $120,000 now, it's great if you're single. If you're married, you're still solid. But if you plan on having a family, even a nuclear family of 1.5 kids, you are seriously, at this day and age, with $120,000, diminishing what you're able to do versus what you could do 10, 15, 20 years ago. I think people are waking up to that. And when they went to college young, they didn't fully understand money. They didn't understand inflation. They thought, I'm going to go to college and make the same money my dad or my mom made. And you're making the same amount that your dad and mom made. It's just significantly less valuable than it was 15, 20, 30 years ago. So I think a large amount of people, I'm not saying everyone, but I think a large amount of people investing in crypto are college educated and are waking up to how stupid it is. But that also means a lot of people who go to college come out of there with student loans, and they're having to pay them off.
I don't know, man. I disagree. I strongly disagree, because when I was in college, when I graduated, the first thing I thought was that was just a mind programming system to get you to be compatible with the establishment process of you going to a school, graduating, and going and working for some insurance company or some hospital or whatever, and just showing up to your job and doing the work and doing the minimal required research for your life, right? A lot of these big corporations, they have their own education programs for for finance, and a lot of it's just they're just partnered with some finance company that's selling, like Fidelity, that's just filling that gap in for them, and obviously they're selling those employees United States backed packages for 401ks. They're not looking, on average, I do not think people who are in a lot of student debt are looking to the edges of maximizing their annual returns. And if they are, I think they're finding scams. I don't think they're finding the truth of Bitcoin, except for the thermodynamics engineers and maybe economics students who studied Hayek or something. There's very narrow paths I think you can go from academia into finding crypto truly. But I think the majority of this people who have big student debt are just, I hate to say it, and I hate if you're listening, but I would use the words lemmings, right? They just kind of went with the flow when they graduated high school. They just went and they got a bunch of debt, and hopefully they got a law degree or a medical degree or some engineering degree or something, right? But I think that the people that are sitting there holding on to their debt, because that 1.6 trillion, that's a lot of people that are just not paying it, right? That's a lot of people that are just, they got maybe a business degree like me, right? But it was an expensive degree, and it was they're not even using it. They're just they're just like a manager at a printer shop or something like that. They're not really applying themselves in maximizing their educational equity that they've built up, right? They're not. So whereas myself, I had the pleasure of having parents who paid for my college, right? But it was also less than $10,000 the whole thing. So because I just went to a local community college, in and out, bachelor's degree, boom, boom. There you go, on your way. I worked at Domino's the whole time to just help pay for my tuition and everything. It was very comfortable, to be honest with you. Zero debt. So I disagree. I disagree, and it looks like I don't know if you've been reading the chat.
Oh,
but
you can be wrong, T-Shroom. It's all right. It's okay to be wrong from time to time.
You seriously think that people with a bunch of college debt have crypto?
Yeah.
I would say it's probably less than 5%. I would be surprised if more than 5% have any
very
crypto.
Surprised if it's not close. So I would say that I would imagine a hefty percentage of people invested in cryptocurrency in the United States of America have some form of student loans. Because first of all, majority of people have student loans in one way or another that have the higher paying jobs. And who are the other people right now? Like, you don't see a lot of people who like only have a couple dollars left over investing in crypto. Most of the people investing in crypto are sitting here saying, hey, I make more money than I need to live on, but I know if I want to live that retirement in the future that I really want, I have to invest in something that has greater value. Well, who are the type of people that have those types of jobs? People that went to college. And then let's do this. If you're making buku's amount of money, you don't have high debt, that probably makes you less interested in making bigger gains with some of these cryptos. Maybe you're invested in Bitcoin because it's a longer term game, but getting invested in all these little risky coins, that's more of a risky investor long-term move. To me, that's just screams the psychology of a type of person who's not in poverty, but is looking to get ahead in their finances because they don't see that happening in the real world. And that type of person is the type of person who went to college and more than likely has debt of some kind. But it's 401. There were 2 questions in chat we do have to answer. The first one, very serious question. How do you get 1.5 kids in America? T-Shroom and I actually tackled this the other day, I think in a bro time, or maybe we were just having a private conversation. You're going to want the top half of a kid, because when you only have the bottom half of a kid and you're losing the brain cells and everything else, it's very hard for that child to continue to exist. But this actually makes a lot of sense, because if you just had the top half, I think a lot of people do have just top half kids. The kids sit on the couch all day playing video games and eating Pop-Tarts, and they don't ever use their legs. So there's really just half a kid. So that's the answer to that first question. The second question, Alex asked him, he said, do they have offices in the UK? And I was sitting there saying, what is he talking about? Do they? I forgot. It's talking about the tax people. No. Ernest does not work with UK, but he has connections and relationships with people both in the UK and Canada. So if you are from Canada or the UK and you are looking for someone that you can trust to do your taxes, if you're in America, Ernest is your guy. Great guy. But if you're looking and you have no connections, you have nothing to do, give him a free call and let him know where you live. Ask him if he knows someone that you can trust to handle your taxes. Definitely worth the free consultation. With that said, though, 4:02, we have run a bit long with our nonsense. Guys, if you have not smashed that like button already, go ahead and smash that like button. Also hit subscribe. We're stupid close. We're getting close to about 100 away from that 5,000 subscriber mark. Help us get there before the end of November, and maybe we'll do something special. We'll do something fun to celebrate. As we're closing out, Cardano at 37.5 cents. It can't be stopped. How high will it get tomorrow? Well, you're going to have to come back and watch our content. With that said, you guys have a fantastic day, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. Adios.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots, stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor of the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shroom's news, got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots, stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.